On today's episode, we talk to Dario Sagud and we talk about his history in the crypto space, what it's like to live and work in Crypto Valley, and his new project, Crypto Potential, which connects blockchain companies with service providers through a unique concept called Proof of Achievement. Like and share to center your landing coordinates on the dark side of the HODL moon. HODL moon! Okay, and we're on another episode of Dark Side of the HODL moon. Josh, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. We've got another exciting guest for the audience. I'm looking forward to getting into this one today.
Yeah, we have, looks like Dario here from Crypto Potential. So Dario, could you introduce yourself briefly, where you're from and what you were doing before this project and how you got into it?
Yes, thank you guys for the opportunity to be in the podcast. My name is Dario Sagud, and I'm originally from Croatia, and living in Switzerland right now, working on a blockchain project near Crypto Valley. Probably you heard about it, and that's why we're also in the blockchain. We're in Crypto Valley, near Crypto Valley. Have this opportunity to use the blockchain project and possibilities on the highest level here in Switzerland. And how I got into the project. I got into the projects when I got into the cryptocurrency because I saw that the tokenization offers a lot of opportunities and possibilities for changing a business model, adjusting, adding some new stuff, and just giving the new founders an opportunity to start their own business with tokenization and with the blockchain.
Okay, awesome. And I'm a little naive. Where exactly in Switzerland is Crypto Valley?
It's in Canton Zug. Okay. So it's basically in the middle of the Switzerland, more or less. And this is where all the famous events like crypto summits take place. And a lot of crypto companies already joined the Crypto Valley and moved to Crypto Valley, their operations and headquarters, because the regulations and they're basically welcoming them with open hands because they want to build the Crypto Valley and a blockchain, let's say, region in Switzerland.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Actually, in South Korea, a lot of the Swiss delegation have come over and tried to promote the Crypto Valley in Korea. And there has been some cooperation between, the Korean government and the Swiss, especially in Zug. I think that it's quite interesting the way that Switzerland actually works as a country. So not many people understand it. I think you have to live there to really appreciate it. I've got a brother who also lives in Switzerland, and the canton system is really interesting. Maybe we could talk about that a little bit later, about how there's a lot of direct democracy and there's a lot of basic referenda that happens on almost every decision. And each canton is almost independent of each other. It's a really fascinating way of running a society. What do you think about that in general? I mean, coming from the UK, and you came from Poland, I believe. Is that right? Oh, no, sorry, Croatia. My bad. So coming from the European countries and then going to the middle of Europe that's independent from the European Union, has its own structure, it must be quite fascinating to see that.
Yeah, the trade rights are the same and everything, but they have, they decide they own on the tax, on the funding, on everything. And the interesting part is that each canton can decide on the tax, on different regulations, what's allowed, what's not allowed. So it's unbelievable. Basically, they're like small planets in one country that can decide basically everything besides language, official language and currency, and maybe a couple of things more, but that's it.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty interesting. So because of that independence, maybe Switzerland will really turn into a blockchain hotbed, and it's kind of a little similar in the U.S. where all the 50 states have 50 different sets of rules. So there's a little bit of a similarity there. Dario, I kind of want to get into your project. potential. And it seems to me, when I look at the white paper and I've read about it a little bit, that you're looking for a way to use the blockchain to verify people with badges, whether it's about verifying trust. And we've seen a lot of scams in the crypto space. So is this what you saw and the use cases you saw for coming up with crypto potential and this new proof of achievement?
That's right, Kate. Yeah, this is what many people saw, and there are many different solutions how we can solve this, and with reports, with some ratings they tried and everything. I mean, more motivating for me was, I don't know if you guys watched or heard about heard anything of Mark Zuckerberg Harvard commencement speech 2017. Have you heard something about that or watch on YouTube?
Yeah.
No, actually, I've not.
I've seen little clips.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I do know that you quoted him in your white paper about having measurable metrics, not just in economics, but in other ways as well.
Yeah, exactly. He said that we should have a society that measures progress and achievements not just by economic metrics, but by the meaningful rules too. And that's why we thought, okay, but in a blockchain space, we have tokenization and we can use this as incentives for the meaningful roles. So why not recognize those roles, which we got feedback from the community, and we put them as badges, as achievements of each project. And why not reward projects who are quality, who have those achievements, which we can do now with blockchain. It was not possible till now because you needed to use own money and you cannot create money like banks out of nothing, you know. But you can start a blockchain project and do tokenization and reward those projects. And on the other side, service providers who would like to have quality projects as their clients or prospects, whatever, they would like to see the quality there. And let's say in this way, we can do some soft due diligence process for them, and then they're ready to offer the lower service rate for it.
Okay, interesting.
That's cool. So can I ask you, when you first set up your business, and when did you move to Switzerland to get this thing going?
I was already in Switzerland since 2016, and so this is like more than 3 years right now. And started a project a bit less than 2 years for now in 2018 January. And since we are here, we saw how the things are developing, especially here near Crypto Valley, and also visiting a lot of events here and summits. So we thought about, okay, we already were a team who were working together on different projects. Then we thought, why not use this blockchain opportunity? I mean, it's such a different way, you know, that the economy can be, let's say, set up and measured. So it's basically the only space that you would like to be in if you're concerning about the current economic situation. So it's a space that you want to know about, that you want to be in at the moment, and that's why we went in that direction completely and tried to figure out the ways to deliver something valuable to the companies and people in the space.
Okay, cool. So did you get into crypto because you're in Switzerland, or were you already aware of cryptocurrency and blockchain before you moved to Switzerland? Was that a reason to pull you to Switzerland? Like, how was your cryptocurrency story? Can you tell us a bit about that?
I was aware of it, of course. At first, like everybody, I didn't thought that this would be a serious threat to, you know, banking, economic system, monetary system, and so on. After 2016, I was learning more about it. I visited a couple of events and so on. I was talking a lot about it with my team, and then I thought, okay, this is an interesting concept. This is not This basically can move the power from the banks and distribute it. Like Bitcoin is basically now as a global currency, you can say, at some level. Of course, it's not accepted in all countries and it's banned somewhere. We know this, but basically, it's a global way to exchange value. It's possible, even today. I mean, it's something that definitely can put a strain on the main powers that we have in the banks and so on. And that's why I thought, of course, Switzerland contributed to this, but also talking with the team and discovering about the technology in details contributed to that altogether.
All right, let's get deeper into your project here. So you currently have a few different badges, and you're using proof of achievement. Can you kind of run down? I know it's in future in your roadmap. Can you run down how you envision this working? Do you have to apply to get a badge? Do you have to vet the people who are giving the badges? Do you need the token to do it? Like, what are the nuts and bolts of how you see this working?
This is now the core on how it works, the whole system. Maybe first I can tell you about the proof of achievement. What does it mean actually? Achievements, obviously you're doing with achievements here. Proof of achievement is a blockchain system where blockchain companies can mine QCP tokens, art tokens, for their achievements in the space, or as Mark Zuckerberg said, meaningful roles in the space. And this could be MVP product. So everything that is important and which does not bring you direct value immediately, like sales and fundraising, you know. So everything which is important, like MVP, market analysis, compliant token, the things that you don't get paid for and are important for the space. So this is the proof of achievement system. How this should work in the future. It already works. We have already proven the business model. We are making connections between projects and providers already. 400 companies are mining our tokens already, which we have tested. We don't have 5,000 projects. We have 400. The proper projects with most achievements, most quality in the space, and they're mining achievements, and they already use them with the blockchain service providers, which for the services which they need for the lower service rate, because they're accepting it, because they know that they are quality prospects. Yeah, this is how the system works. How this will work in the future? We expect more quality projects, more providers, and of course making more connections between those two.
Okay, so
Yeah, cool.
if I'm understanding this correctly, so if someone does a compliance check or an MVP check on a company, in return they get the QCP tokens. Is that correct?
Example: if you're a blockchain company and you want to start mining to lower your business costs, you just apply and you provide the documentation. For example, you have MVP product, you provide a link to an MVP product. You have compliant token, you provide proof documentation that you have compliant token. You get those badges or achievements for compliance for MVP, and each badge, each achievement gives you the different mining potential. And so each week you get new balance of tokens, because you have put efforts already in making those achievements and in accomplishing this. And each week you get tokens, and at some point you want to use them. You know, you accumulate, you amass them, and at some point, okay, I want to use them for, I don't know, marketing services, or I want to use them for developing services, or I want to use them for listing. We already have providers that accept for listing IO our tokens. So what it does is that you use your tokens, for example, let's say for marketing, and you can unlock with those tokens, let's say 30, 50 or 70% discount, and you lower your cost drastically immediately, and they accept you as a quality prospect client to deliver you services. So this is how it would work.
Okay. So if me and Josh had our own blockchain, Darkside of the HODL Moon blockchain, the project itself, if we prove that, we are regulation compliant or we showed our minimum viable project, then we would get the badges and then we would get the QCP tokens. And then with partners, we'd be able to use those to get discounts on a variety of services. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, what does QCP stand for?
Q is definitely for quality.
Okay.
and CP is crypto potential. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I knew CP was crypto. Okay, cool. That's pretty interesting. Josh, you want to jump in here?
Yeah, that's cool. So I'm just wondering, how many clients have you managed to reach out to? Has the feedback been good so far from the market? Have you managed to actually sign any clients? How's it gone? Have you had so much success? That's that type of stuff.
Yeah, at the start, it was hard, to find traction, to get feedback, like it is in every startup. When you start, you don't have you don't have the fundamental yet, And after that, now it's much easier because there are 400 companies there. There are 12 providers who signed with us to provide services at lower rate and to accept QCP. So it's a bit easier now. Now we've already made a couple of connections between them, providers and companies. Now it's easier to get feedback, to get testimonial, to get to prove the model if it works or not, and to change something if it's needed. So till now we had a lot of success, but at start was a lot of failures, trials. Let's try this, let's try that, let's try to offer them this kind of services, or let's use let's focus only on quality quality project, and this is what we did. Yeah, I'm pretty happy how it went till now.
Yeah, sounds
but it
good.
was a lot of struggles, on the way, of course.
Yeah, so you've signed up 12 providers of services that can interact with up to 400 projects that you've got on your books now. That's pretty good. Honestly, that's quite impressive. Now, you said it was hard at the start. Was there ever a moment where you thought, all right, it's too difficult, I'm going to give up? Was there ever a time you thought it wasn't going to be successful, it wasn't going to work out? Or was it always some light at the end of the tunnel for you?
I was never thinking about giving up because I like the space. I believe that this will be this will contribute a lot and make a lot of disruption in the whole economy, and that's why I thought that I need to just find the right way. I need to just find the right path which I can follow, and listen to what people have to say. Listen to the things also that they are ignoring. At start, listen to this and try to come up with other hypotheses. This is what I believed always and still believe.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'm reading in the white paper too. You're an ERC20 protocol, and it's a utility token. Is that correct?
Exactly. It unlocks the discount percentage for each provider, so nobody gets tokens. Tokens are, after they are unlocked, they are basically burned, and they're each time they come into life when somebody is mining them, and when somebody uses them, it's like a coupon. You can imagine it as a coupon. You get a coupon. They use the coupon. Coupon is cancelled, thrown into somewhere, and not used anymore. For new coupon, you need to do something, some achievement, whatever. In our case, they need to do some achievements in the blockchain space, and then they can mine new tokens.
Okay, I have a little clarification here. So I read in the white paper, it says these badges qualify the company to mine QCP tokens weekly with no computing power. So maybe I'm being too technical, but usually when I think of mining, I think of proof of work mining, GPU, ASIC mining. So is having the badges, is that mining? Is that kind of like having a badge gives you these tokens? Like, could you clarify that?
Yeah, okay, that's very interesting because proof of work and proof of stake requires a lot of electricity.
Yeah.
In this case, uh, you know, you need to pay for electricity. You have some efforts on that end. In this case, you already done the efforts as a project. Why should you know, use the electricity and so on and put more effort and investment, because you already did the investment. Your investment was that you're a quality project. You already did your MVP. You spent money and efforts on MVP. You spent money on market analysis. You were diligent in that matter, and you already put efforts there. Why shouldn't you then get a lower service rate as a qualified as a quality project? And this is what all providers also say. They say, okay, if it's quality, then we will definitely give lower services. Then it's not a problem for us if it's quality project. And if it's some, you know, some average, then it's an issue.
Okay, so once you have the achievement badges, you get more QCP tokens every month. Is that how it works?
Each week they mine tokens, and they receive an email about their balance and how much they have. They also can access their profile with a special code, which they can register the user and use a special code which connects them with their project. So they have on the platform then their personal account and project account. And each week they get, depending on the achievement, you know, if you have an MVP, you have different mining potential than if you have market analysis, because there are different mining potential for each achievement. And each week you get them. As I said, you accumulate them, you amass them, and then you can use them. One month you can use them for marketing. Second, you can use them for developing, listing, and so on. They're always constantly in exchange, you know.
Okay, yeah. So different badges have different, I guess you could say, mining rewards, and the more badges, the more mining rewards, I guess you could say, you get. So, is this project really only for blockchain and cryptocurrency companies, or could you see it expanding beyond that?
That's a question for the future. Definitely, can this expand? I would personally like to stay in the blockchain space. Sorry, in the blockchain space, and you know, stay in that niche only for
Okay.
now. It definitely it's possible, of course, so you can scale this. But I would like to, you know, specialize in this niche, see, gather the feedback, see how it works also on a global scale for blockchain companies, and then see whether this can open. But this comes in the following years. For now, let's keep focus on the quality and on the blockchain space.
Yeah, that makes sense. You want to test it in a small enough niche that is then proven, and then if it works, you can scale it into other industries. That makes sense. So, are there any companies or projects that you've worked with that you can share or give an example of a case study, or is it still under NDA? I don't know about how public you can be. It's okay if you can't be public, but if you can be, is there any projects you can share that you've been working with?
The exact name, I don't know if I can share because they are. I haven't asked them yet if I can share this.
Okay.
This is between the providers and projects, but I can tell you one example without the name of the project, for
Okay,
sure.
cool.
Which happened 1 week ago. For example, this was a great example because they wanted to have marketing services, and they wanted to have some articles, and we have providers who provide articles, and then they connected with the QCPs. They had enough to unlock. This was, I think, 35% discount. So they basically paid 65% of the price only for the articles, which usually would cost them much more. So you can imagine the relief on the team which you get if you say, okay, I got this with the QCP tokens with achievements, which we did efforts, which we made efforts before. We just lower our cost with it. You know, you can imagine how much relief they got on their team, and that's why they're now constantly working with us, the providers and the project. Project said, okay, relief on the team, and the provider said, that's cool. You bring us quality prospects here with achievements. We want to have more of this.
Okay, so the provider is kind of willing to give discounts because it's already a trusted, verified, compliant project. Is that what incentivizes them to give a discount in their services?
It's mostly this soft due diligence part, as you said. So we already checked a couple of achievements. We work with them, let's say for a month, 2, 3, before they use the tokens for the first time. You accumulate first some amount of tokens. So we work with them, we talk with them, we know are they doing, we know if they're, we immediately know if they're trying to scam something or not. In 3 months you figure that out.
Yeah.
Actually, it makes sense. I think after you've explained it and working on the inside of many cryptocurrency projects myself, it is a relief to know that, if you do the right thing, if you do get all of your ducks in a row and you do the right business model and you've already, made that progress, you've done the achievement, then it's recognized and put into the blockchain, then to know that you can get discounts from service providers that you need to use anyway, because you need to market just because you put in that legwork. I think that's actually a really good business model, especially utilizing, the Ethereum network and the tokenization. It's cool. I think it's a really sound thing. So do you have an exit? Do you have an exit strategy? Or are you looking to stay in this for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I think that basically everybody should have some kind of exit strategy, because we don't live, forever. We need to have some exit strategy. You mean exit strategy like personal or as a crypto potential project?
Well, actually, yeah, this is a podcast, so, we can take it hard and soft as well. So we can say, from the business perspective, do you want to be bought out by a particular company, and then personally, do you have like an ambition? Do you want to retire and live on an island somewhere? Like, you can take it both ways.
Yeah. As I said, I like the space, and I would like to stay longer in the space, of course, with or without a company. I would like to stay longer in the space and to see how this unfolds in the future. Regarding the company, of course, when we talk with investors, we have to present the exit strategy. We have to present them. We would like to go, a long way till IPO, of course. But I cannot guarantee if the market will not go up. We believe that the market will go up in the future, but we don't know when exactly and how fast. Some big company like Amazon can join the space, and since they are they are selling products, we are putting our focus on services, blockchain services. They can just come and say, okay, you cannot go longer like this. Either you sell it to us or we crush you. At some point, I don't know what can happen in the future, but there is a possibility for this to happen, of course.
Yeah, you said either you sell it to us or we crush you. Are you talking about Mark Zuckerberg or someone else?
Yeah, you can look at it that way. And basically, it's a big companies buy small companies which show a great amount of traction, which we all see that is happening. I personally cannot do anything, regarding that. I can say no, I don't want to sell, and then they crush me. But as I said, I would like to stay as much as possible, as long as possible in the space, and if it's possible, to go till the IPO with this, because we saw now serious amount of traction with the projects, and we're working 2 years or almost on this. Also, we had a couple of pivots before, and we would like to stay long with this, but I cannot guarantee anything, as the future is unpredictable.
All right, that's cool. And so you want to be in the space for a long time. You hope the company goes well, and you said that in your mind you think that the overall movement is upwards, the upward trend in terms of the price of the crypto assets. So that leads me to my next question perfectly, actually, which is, your personal predictions for BTC. So when we have guests on, we like to ask them this question because we also made our own predictions about where Bitcoin will be in 2020. I called a high of 86,000 next year and a low of 6,000. Some of our guests have agreed and disagreed with, my prediction. So if you could, if you want to put it on record on this podcast, you can say, in 2020, I think the high and the low for Bitcoin will be. So go ahead, Dario, and let us know your price predictions for Bitcoin, please.
And then you can show me this audio and this podcast in 1 year from now.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
It's exciting though to know that you could be right as well. So someone will be right.
I think just about everybody's going to be wrong, but
most of the predictions are always wrong. I mean, maybe it's easier to make a prediction for 2024. Let's say it will be much easier. 2020 is just around the corner, and 2024 will be much easier. Even though probably, I mean, most certainly I'll be wrong, plus minus. But as I said, I believe in technology. I believe in the space, and I believe that the market will go up. Otherwise, I would not be there. You know. I believe, and this is also maybe a hardcore prediction, that we could expect in 5 years from now something like a couple of $1 trillion market cap. Let's see if this happens. I believe that this will happen when the regulations are a bit less, tedious for the companies and projects to come in. And I hope also that the crypto potential can contribute to this growth. But I believe, let's say, 3 to 5 trillion, my guess, 2024. What do you say, guys, about this?
I think that's a good prediction.
Yeah.
Speaking of regulations and getting rid of them, I noticed that you're not available to the U.S. and Chinese market. Is that correct? Because of regulations, I'm guessing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's tough. I'm here in the U.S., so there's a lot of things I can't really invest or get into the IEOs or the ICOs. So that's a bummer. I kind of want to talk a little bit more about proof of achievement, and I want to kind of give you my take and tell me if you agree or not. So me and Josh have talked a little bit about proof of stake, delegated proof of stake, proof of work. We talked a little bit about proof of useful work, and I kind of think proof of achievement is kind of a little bit proof of useful work and also a little bit like proof of stake. So this useful work are these badges, but you're kind of staking these badges in order to get reward. So you're doing some useful work and then you're staking these badges. Some are worth more, some are worth less, and the more badges you have, the more you get. So would that be a good analogy or a good explanation of how proof of achievement works?
I like this very much, what you said, Kate. I believe that, it's of course it's a bit different because there is no electricity here in this case, and neither they need to put efforts for their achievements in the space. They cannot have, X amount of badges. They cannot collect, 100 badges as a project. There are only just so much badges available, and badges are also thought of through community feedback. Community gives us some feedback about it. Important is MVP, important is market analysis, important is compliance, if they're compliant or not, because most of them are not showing those information. And also qualified team. If the team is behind it tested, they have videos and so on. So there are only so much badges that you can have, and of course you cannot have them for all the time. We haven't put a restriction yet on the time since we're in this for 6 months, hardcore in proof of achievement system.
Okay, so maybe after 6 months you have to reapply to keep the badge.
This is what we thought about, but haven't implemented yet. For now, we are just collecting all the projects that have really good achievements and presenting them to our community and to providers. Those are the best. Those are the 400 best that we found till now. We have 416 now, and we present them as a project with badges, and they can mine now for their achievements, their tokens, without renewing each badge.
That's cool, man. So we've talked about a lot of things today. We've covered your business model totally, how you got into the space, what it's like in Switzerland. So you made a prediction for the market cap, the total market size in 2024, which I think I agree with in general. I think it can definitely go, into the trillion or a couple of trillion mark, because, it's only a 10x from now in 5 years. It's fairly realistic. Maybe we'll be completely proven wrong. Who knows? Let's find out. So this is my last question. If Cade's got any more, then by all means,
I've got one more question too. But yeah.
Okay, so this is my last one, and it's what's the biggest obstacle to mass adoption of cryptocurrency in general, or blockchain technology, in your view? So it could be crypto, it could also be blockchain or DLT. So you can take that how you wish. It's your question. So what's the biggest obstacle to mass adoption?
Mass adoption. I think it's the biggest obstacles are the banks trying to prevent this from happening. I also heard some from hearsay and from also as a rumor. I heard that a lot of banks are putting, especially in different countries, are putting pressure on regulatory agencies, to make the regulations almost impossible, to start a blockchain company. It's extremely hard, you need to have cash, you need to have basically, team and support of lawyers or something. They're pushing it to make it almost impossible to start and to mass adopt, the whole technology. If this will loosen up over time. This cannot take, for a long time. It's obvious. But when this loosens up, I think that this would then be a great leap for mass adoption.
Yeah,
in the whole world. I don't know if you guys agree on this.
Yeah, well, I'd like to jump in on that too. Yeah, I agree with you. Regulation is a huge issue, especially me here in the U.S. But in addition to that, I also think we just need people to be more knowledgeable about it and more interested in it. I think so many people that aren't in the crypto space don't understand it. They don't care about it. They were only interested in it when the market was going parabolic, and then when it went down, so many people lost interest. So I think having knowledge and interest and passion in it is also important. And I'll get to probably, I think, my last question. I don't think haven't talked to Josh about this yet, but I think the Darkside of the HODL Moon show would love to have some badges. And I'm looking at them, competition verified, team verified. Wow, amazing team. Minimum viable product, probably one of the best podcasts out there. Influential podcast. So Dario, how would we get badges to put on our website to know that we're compliant and that people would want to work with us? What would be how do we get badges for Darkside of the HODL Moon?
Every project can contact us directly or apply for badges and provide, additional information. Every badge has additional requirement. For example, if you have market analysis, your market, your competition, where you want to position yourself, and you have done that. This is competition verified badge. You know that you have an MVP product. You show them. You can just show the link and so on. We can check out this, and then you get MVP badge. Influential is a bit different. Influential is if it has media attention, like through YouTube, through articles and so on, and then they get influential badge. It's basically a contact, direct contact or application, and then you immediately get badges and start mining.
Okay, and if people apply, do you have a team that checks them to make sure that what the documents and information is correct?
I don't know if you saw on the website, but below the team we have we call them crypto detectives. We have 10 blockchain specialists. We call crypto detectives who check on those requirements. We just assign, one per projects to them. If somebody is has field, of health, and we have health project, and we assign health project to him or her, and then the test, and they say, okay, they have this, and they have this. Put them those 3 badges or 2 badges or so on. We made a campaign where where 110 specialists applied from all over the world, and then we tested them with interviews, with some questions and reports that they needed to wrote, and then we selected 10 of them, only the best that we could, which work now together in our team with us.
Okay, awesome. Well, I've pretty much asked all my questions. I think it's a really interesting project. It looks like a lot of things in the roadmap are in the future, but I think you guys have a lot of potential. Josh, do you have anything else you want to say?
Well, yeah, pun intended. There's a lot of potential in crypto potential, really. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. I'm glad you came on our podcast. It was a real pleasure talking to you about this today. Thanks for coming on, Dario. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and Dario, do you have any last words? We'll put your info and links to the website and everything else in the show notes. But do you have anything else you'd like to say today before we sign off?
I would like to say that first of all, thank you guys for making this podcast. This is important to bring the information out, and not only this, but also you contribute to the mass adoption too, at some point, And I would advise anybody who is in the space or who is trying to get into the space to get some cryptos, to try to buy something, to hold something, to use some cryptos or tokens for something, and look at the projects and how you can use those tokens. For us, you can use for discount, for example. For others, you can use for some other access or for something else. Get some cryptos, look at it, try to use them with different companies. This would contribute also to the mass adoption a lot, and this would make it easier for all of us, not only us, but for the whole economy to basically grow in the right direction.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a great way to end it off today. All right. If you need proof of conversation or proof of interview with Dario, you can find it on the dark side of the HODL moon. HODL moon!